Hello, I'm Thomas Donegan. As you can see, I am a lover of nostalgia cartoons. Now, some of the cartoons I like to look back on are the cartoons done by Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network has done a lot of great shows over the years, but the shows I love the most on Cartoon Network are, I like to call them, the Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoons. Cartoons like The Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Johnny Bravo, Samurai Jack, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Codename Kids Next Door, Ben 10, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Camp Lazlo, and you name it. The cartoons done in their early times. Well, today I'm going to go over a few concerns that I have about Cartoon Network because they're not airing their cartoons very much as they used to be, and there are some other stuff they've got going on, but I'm kind of having my doubts about them. So, with that said, let's take a look at a couple of concerns I have about Cartoon Network and how I want Cartoon Network to be. So, let's get started on my concerns about Cartoon Network. Concern number 1, checkered past. Cartoon Network's Adult Swim had a late afternoon block called Checkered Past. I've watched this block in its first couple of weeks, and I've been checking it out like you Cartoon Network fans. Their schedule is quite a simple one. It starts with Dexter's Laboratory at 5, the Ed, Edd and Eddy at 5:30, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy at 6, and Courage the Cowardly Dog at 6:30. And then on Fridays, they have a marathon of one of the cartoons. Guess because Cartoon Network is the most fun on Fridays, just like in the past. While I had fun reliving these shows, I had a couple of issues with the block. All the cartoons are rated PG. None of them have that rating. They are supposed to be family friendly, as in Y7 or Y7FV for the case of Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, and Courage the Cowardly Dog. Those are the closest that have Y7FV. Although I understand Courage the Cowardly Dog because of all the nightmare fuel the series has to offer. But PG is a little too extreme for some of the Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoons. Adult Swim has treated these like adult cartoons instead of family-friendly cartoons. Come on, Adult Swim, they're family-friendly. They don't have that much content and they're not that scary for kids, with the exception of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Anyways, next up is the bumpers. They are like a combination of the Adult Swim bumpers you see and the Cartoon Network City bumpers from 2004 to 2007? Or was it 2006? Maybe it was 2006. I gotta tell you that Cartoon Network City had the best Cartoon Network bumpers in Cartoon Network history. As for the checkered past bumpers, well, they're fine, but they could have been done a lot better. I want to see the characters interacting with each other again, just like they were in Cartoon Network City. We haven't seen that since Cartoon Network's 20th birthday. So yes, checkered past is fun, but it needs more juice, and I want to see more than just Dexter, the Eds, Billy and Mandy and Grimm, and Courage. Concern number 2, their relationship with Adult Swim. Adult Swim is Cartoon Network's nighttime block. You know, that block where it shows adult cartoons, as in King of the Hill, Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, and so on. Now, remember back in 2001 when Cartoon Network had weekday primetime and not just Cartoon Fridays? Yeah, that was a great time to spend the night with cartoons. Going back to Adult Swim, they went from starting at 8 p.m. to starting at 7 p.m. to starting at 6 p.m. all the way to 5 p.m. Jeez! I say Cartoon Network and Adult Swim should part ways. Yes, Adult Swim should be a separate network where they broadcast old adult cartoons as well as original cartoon series of theirs. Cartoon Network should go back to primetime cartoons, or at least shows variety around primetime, which also leads me to concern number 3. Their schedule. Ever since Adult Swim started airing early than they're supposed to be, Cartoon Network's schedule has gotten worse and worse. Everyone cares more about Adult Swim more than they care about Cartoon Network. Either that or Cartoon Network doesn't care what they show. Well, how about this? And this is my idea. Here's what Cartoon Network should show. They can show whatever they want early in the mornings, whether it be classic cartoons or modern cartoons. But in the late afternoons, they should shake things up and have a block called Favorites at 4. A block that has nothing but Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoons. The way it works is you get 1 hour of a Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoon. For Mondays, Johnny Bravo at 4, Dexter's Laboratory at 5, Courage the Cowardly Dog at 6, and Ed, Edd and Eddy at 7. For Tuesdays, Samurai Jack at 4, Courage the Cowardly Dog at 5, Codenamed Kids Next Door at 6, and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends at 7. For Wednesdays, Dexter's Laboratory at 4, Codenamed Kids Next Door at 5, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy at 6, and Ed, Edd and Eddy at 7. For Thursdays, Johnny Bravo at 4, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends at 5, Codenamed Kids Next Door at 6, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy at 7. For Fridays, the Powerpuff Girls at 4, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy at 5, Courage the Cowardly Dog at 6, and Samurai Jack at 7. So you basically get 4 different Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoons each day, and they each last for 1 hour. How cool would that be? And then they have Cartoon Fridays again, where they show back-to-back episodes of various Cartoon Network cartoons every Friday night at 8. Prime time on Mondays and Thursdays with new episodes of Cartoon Network cartoon shows. That's how I'd like to see Cartoon Network, wouldn't you? Current Cartoon Network shows with new episodes. You know what I mean? Or how about Cartoon Network have another channel called Cartoon Network Hall of Fame, where they show all the cartoons Cartoon Network has done over the years, along with the cartoons owned by Warner Brothers. Speaking of which, did you all know that Warner Brothers is turning 100? Wait, they just turned 100. My mistake. Same with Disney. Both Disney and Warner Brothers turned 100. Happy 100 years, Disney and Warner Brothers. Concern number 4. The Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboots coming in 2024. Craig McCracken, the creator of both of these cartoons, is coming back to Cartoon Network to bring these shows back. Now, we already had a reboot of the Powerpuff Girls before, in 2016, but it wasn't as much fun as the original in 1998 when Craig McCracken was there. And the Powerpuff Girls didn't sound like the Powerpuff Girls. They sounded like jerky teenager girls who don't care about acting. And the action scenes, the animation, the stories, and... you know what, I'm over-explaining too much. As for the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboot, let me put it in this way. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is one of my favorite Cartoon Network Hall of Fame cartoons, next to the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The fact that you have a show about a boy named Mac who has to give up his imaginary friend named Blue to a foster home for imaginary friends, and after they make a deal that Mac would come to see Blue every day, then Blue wouldn't be put up for adoption, and they go on all these wild and crazy adventures in and out of the home. Nearly all of everything you see in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is what makes a perfect cartoon series. Well, now Craig McCracken has decided to give Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends a new makeover. It's going from a family-friendly cartoon to a kids' cartoon. And by kids' cartoon, I mean a preschool cartoon you would watch early in the weekday mornings. You know what I mean? My big concern about that is, what if it sucks? What if Craig McCracken doesn't include the original characters? Will the original characters never appear at all? What if the new imaginary friends are really children? Or voiced by children in that matter? What if the new main characters are not likable? Will it be... Okay, maybe I'm having my doubts about the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friend reboot. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Same goes to the Powerpuff Girls reboot. Craig McCracken did create these cartoons, and he is going to be part of the reboots. Let's hope Craig McCracken knows what he's doing. Last but not least, concern number 5, and this is going to be a silly one, Teen Titans Go. I hate Teen Titans Go. It's nothing but Justice League mixed in the style of SpongeBob SquarePants. All the characters are far from what they were in the original Teen Titans. And especially the Teen Titans, because they are absolute jerks. They're not acting like heroes. They're acting like teenagers that just like to, I don't know, push each other off. And while I haven't seen every episode, there is no denying that the original Teen Titans is way better than Teen Titans Go. I remember when Cartoon Network showed this cartoon in nearly like all the time, as in the daytime. Maybe it was years ago, but all they showed was Teen Titans Go. They showed it over and over and over again, and it was getting old very fast. It was all they cared about, as well as their new episodes. And each new season of theirs got worse and worse and worse, and I really can't stand it any longer. Cartoon Network has to get rid of Teen Titans Go. Yes, Teen Titans Go has to come to an end. I may be being harsh, but I still say they should end it sooner or later. Also, I've yet to mention this. Teen Titans Go has an upcoming crossover in honor of Warner Bros. 100th anniversary. The crossover will feature many Warner Bros. Cartoon characters. Looney Tunes, DC, Hanna-Barbera, and Cartoon Network, to be more specific. Well, to me, I think this crossover is going to suck because all the Titans will steal the spotlight and it won't be even a crossover at all. I mean, maybe we won't see the characters very much. Maybe they're not going to play a major role like the Titans are. It will be just a normal Teen Titans Go episode and not a crossover. Just for me, anyway. It'll be coming out on September 30th, 2023 on Cartoon Network. Will it suck, or will it be decent? We'll just have to wait and see. Well, folks, those were my top 5 concerns about Cartoon Network. And, well, before I go, I want to give a quick shout-out to a guy named u9v1999. I think that's his name. Sometimes he talks about Cartoon Network, as well as some news, whether he finds it good news or happy news or bad news or sad news. But I mostly tune into his cartoon reviews, as well as what he sees in the works of, I don't know, I just like to tune into the stuff when he talks about cartoons. So, here's to you, do-not-1999, and he did his own thoughts on Checkered Past, so I thought I'd give my thoughts as well as some other thoughts I had. Alright, so, oh, by the way, did you like my Cartoon Network poster? It says, Cartoon Network Hall of Fame, where all the fame in the Hall of Fame. As well as the Cartoon Network Hall of Fame collection trilogy DVDs. I did a video on those. Alright, so I guess that's it for now. This is Thomas Donegan saying bye for now. And I hope you do better, Cartoon Network. I hope you do. The that's all, folks!